Yeah, the world is so small till it ain't. I'm building up a wall till it break. She hate it when I call and it's late. I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting.
Good fucking morning, everybody that's listening. So, just missing Mac Miller this morning, I guess. I just wanted to toss that in there because why not? It's Mac Miller, and I think about him almost daily. I got his fucking one of the last things he ever put out into this world. I got that on my wall. His swimming album on vinyl. And I get to wake up and look at that every single morning. So anyway, how the fuck are you guys doing? Really quick, I wanted to record this one while it was fresh in my head. I just had this pop up, and I thought it'd be a good thing to talk about. So sit back, relax, and listen to the time I thought I was going to be molested by my probation officer. Let's go and start that fucking music, bitch.
Who is that nasty?
Zach will kill you and fuck your bitch.
People pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm.
So, here we are once again. Once the fuck again. And it feels good. It feels natural. It feels right. I hope whatever. Anyway, I'm caffeinated, nicotine-inated, so I think we're good and we're ready to go. So, here we go. Anyway, I used to, and this is weird that I just want to put this is weird that I'm starting right here, I think, because I've already been talking to my microphone this morning and recording stuff, so this might not be exactly where it starts, but we're just going to say this is where it starts. I was, this happened right before I got locked up and kicked out of my dad's house. If you didn't already know, when I was 14, I got into some pretty serious trouble, got locked up, and I guess during that time, my dad was like, I don't want him at the house anymore, and he contacted my mom somehow, and was like, yo, he's gonna come live with you. So, this was before that. I had just turned 14 years old, and I was on probation, and I had a pretty cool probation officer, I guess. He was all my other friends' probation officer as well, so he knew me and all my friends very well, and it was actually weird because I went to school with his daughter, and his daughter was some, she doesn't have a gag reflex. I'll just put that out there. She doesn't have a gag reflex, or she didn't. I don't know if that's something that goes away when you get older, or if it's something you can grow out of. Anyway, so I used to get arrested a lot as a kid, and I would go, do 30 or 60 days in juvie, and then come out, be around for a little bit, and then go do another 30 or 60 days, because, I would always fuck something up. And I had this probation officer, and we'll call him, just for legal reasons and shit like that, we'll call him Steve Hawkeye, because that's kind of close to his name, so I think I'll be able to remember that. So Steve Hawkeye was a probation officer. He was a little younger, he wasn't as old as all the other probation officers that I would see in the around the courts and stuff like that whenever I had a court date. So he was He was probably like 30, 31 or something like that if I had to guess. And there was one day, the one and only time that I was ever supposed to meet up with him. This is the thing about my probation officer, is what I didn't understand. I never had to ever meet up with him. I never had to check in with him. I never had to pee in a cup like you usually have to do when you're on probation. Take random drug tests. But I never had to do any of that. I just kind of existed like I already did. And there was this one time that I had to meet up with him, though. And we decided to meet at this like really I don't know what you'd call it. It was a coffee shop, but it was like one of those off-brand coffee shops with like a lot of kind of hipster kind of people of that time. And I mean, this was like in like 2000 and like early 2000s, like 2005 or 6 maybe. I don't remember exactly, but we met up at this coffee shop, but he was already there. I rode my bike down, and I left the bike in the parking lot. And I walk in the coffee shop, and he's sitting there just chilling with his laptop doing whatever. And I walk in, I sit down, I'm like, "What's up?" Excuse me, Jesus. And then we walk outside so that we could have like private conversation or whatever. And he like looks out to the parking lot and he's like, "Hey, nice bike." I was like, "Thanks." He was like, "It's stolen. I already know that." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, I was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about," because it was a stolen bike. But I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about, man. That's my bike." He's like, "That's funny," because he named someone's name. He's like, "Blah blah blah met up with me on that same exact bike when we had a meeting." And he was like, "I know it's the same bike. It has the same stickers, the same scratches, the same everything." And I was like, whatever. So anyway, I was like, "You gonna get me in trouble?" But he wasn't about that. So we start talking about like diversion or some dumb shit, which is like when you're young, the courts, I guess, want to try to give you a second chance, so they give you like diversion, which is like it's a thing that you can do with the courts to kind of try to improve yourself, I guess. I never really fucked with diversion. They make you do like a bunch of different kind of shit, like anger management classes and like drug classes or something. Just a bunch of really boring stuff a kid at 14 does not want to be a part of. So we were talking about that kind of stuff back and forth. And then he said he was gonna just drop me off back home. And I was like, "Okay, you know, whatever, that's cool." So I put my bike in the back of his truck and we start going down the road. And he was like, "I gotta make a stop." He was like, "Do you have anywhere to be or anything?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "What do you think?" So we start cruising down the highway, and about like 10-15 minutes of just straight driving, I was like, "Where are we going?" And then he was like, "Oh, we just need to run to Bainbridge Island really quick." And I'm assuming nobody knows the area. Bainbridge Island was like an hour away, an hour and a half maybe. It was a long drive. It wasn't just a quick stop. So I was really confused. I was like, what the fuck are we gonna do in Bainbridge Island? I don't know why we're going all the way there. I was like, we just had a quick little meeting. I was super confused. And then I started to get paranoid and think, I was like, well, fuck, maybe I'm being kidnapped. And the only reason this dude is a probation officer is to like kidnap children and stuff and like get his kicks off that way. And I didn't say anything though, but I was getting really paranoid. And but we just continue driving. We, small talk, make little jokes here and there. And then we get to Bainbridge Island and we're driving around the town. I mean, it's a nice little place, right? I mean, it's a place that has money. And we get to this, like, what do you even call it? It's just a little neighborhood with a street you go down and a cul-de-sac. So we get to like a little cul-de-sac type of neighborhood where I swear I was on the set of like Friday After Next or Next Friday or whatever that movie is where he goes to stay with his cousin, right? God, this coffee is not the best. But we get there and we park in front of this house. And I'm really confused because at first I thought I was going to be molested, possibly, raped and killed. And then just dumped my body somewhere and, went on with his day. But then I started to think, I was like, well, fuck, who do I fuck with? And who could be snitching on me right now? Like I thought maybe it was a setup. Like someone that I fucking did a lot of illegal shit with a while back, maybe like ratted me out and like we were gonna meet up and like get exposed or something. I don't know exactly what I thought. But I was really confused. You don't do this kind of shit with your probation officer. Especially when you've only had like two face-to-faces in the entire time he's been your probation officer, right? The entire time I've only seen him maybe a couple of times before that, like coming to and from the courts and stuff. And we get out of this we get out of his truck and we walk into this driveway and there's this hoopty ass car, like donked out. If you don't know what donked out means, it just means like really, really big rims on a car that it just looks fucking stupid. Really thin, like profile tires, giant, like 30-inch rims on this. Like I think it was a Monte Carlo, but that's besides the point. It doesn't even matter. And this dude comes out, this black dude, and he's like stereotypical fucking pimp looking dude, right? He's got rings on his hands, like all these rings all over his fingers. He's got fucking double watches on one wrist. He's just a pimp looking dude. Like he has, like, looks like he should have a hat with a feather, kind of like Mr. T pimp looking dude. And I'm still just super confused. Like, what are we doing here? So we're standing in the driveway. That dude comes out. And him and Steve, damn, I almost said his real fucking name for a minute. It doesn't even fucking matter at this point. They like get close to each other, walk off from me, like 10, 15 feet away from me, and they're talking. And then Steve is like, stay right here for a minute. And I was like, okay. And they literally just walk next door to this house, really nice house, nothing sketchy there. And then just Steve comes out. And I was like, okay, cool. We're going to leave now. Maybe that was his partner or someone that used to be on probation and he was just checking in on them or something. And so the driveway that we're standing in, we go around back of that house and we get up on the little back porch. And then they have a sliding glass door that's open, but the screen is closed. And then we open the screen and we go in, and then we were immediately in this kitchen that's, fucking really nice. I don't get to go in houses this nice very often in that time of my life. So I was just like looking around like, oh man, people actually live like this, instead of, bummy and having to wear the same clothes constantly. And, we walk through the kitchen, we get to the living room, and we're chilling, right? He turns the TV on, we're chilling. I was like, fuck. I was like, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. We're in this house alone. I'm 14. There's a grown man. He's my probation officer. He just took me out of town without ever telling a soul, I'm assuming. I was like, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't hear him tell anybody. And we're sitting there watching TV. And I think we were watching Jerry Springer or the Maury Show or something like that. And it's just boring. We're just sitting there, not really talking. I'm not asking him why we're there or anything, because I thought that would maybe make it worse if it was going to be a bad situation. I thought, I don't really want to piss him off, because I'm like surveying the room, trying to figure out how I can dip if I need to. Any weapons that are close by that I could just fucking shank him with real quick and make a speedy getaway. And but 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes pass, and then out of nowhere, that black dude that went to the house next door comes walking down the stairs from upstairs that just comes right into the living room. He just, in his fucking like and one basketball shorts or something, he just comes walking down the stairs like he wasn't just next door. And I was tripping. I was like, am I fucking high? Or am I stupid? Or what is happening? He was literally, I watched him walk in the front door of that house with Steve and not come back out. And then we go in the other house, and all of a sudden you're walking down from upstairs. What the fuck? I was so confused. But he was holding something behind his back. And I was like, damn. I was like, this is it. What's happening? So I kind of like sat on the edge of the couch cushion and like turned my attention to have both of them in like my line of sight. So nobody could like catch me off guard, because I was ready for a fight. And then the dude comes around the couch and like sits in this sofa type chair, not really a love seat, but too big to be a couch or a chair on its own. It was a giant couch chair. Jesus Christ. Hang on a second. I apologize. I'm losing my mind this morning. I'll tell you why in a second. So he walks around the couch, sits in this big chair thing, and then from behind his back pulls out this giant bag of chronic. It was like, it wasn't giant. It had to be like 2.5, 3 ounces. But he hands it to Steve, and Steve looks at it, smells it, puts it up to his face, and then sets it on the table, the little coffee table. And at this point, I'm super confused. I was like, okay, look at this situation. I'm 14. My probation officer took me to a town I've never been to meet up with a dude I've never met, going into a house I'd never been to, obviously. And I'm just really fucking taken back that I'm starting to think that my probation officer is a weed dealer. And because I'm starting to put 2 and 2 together, like clean cut looking probation officer, he's got like slacks, golf shirt tucked in, nice gelled hair, whatever, fancy swimmer's watch or something. And he just met up with a black dude who wears a lot of gold. They walked away by themselves, and now he comes back with a big giant bag of weed. So I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to say shit. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, because, if I say anything now that I know he's fucking with chronic, I was like, he might just, be like, why'd you do that? 90 days in juvie or whatever. So I kept my mouth shut. And then the black dude pulls out a swisher, starts breaking it down the middle, dumps out the tobacco, and hands it to Steve. And all the while he's breaking down the cigar, Steve took like 3 or 4 little nugs out of that bag and put them on the coffee table, and then pulls out this little grinder out of his pocket. The motherfucker had this the whole time. He had a grinder in his pocket. breaks up the nugs, puts them in the grinder, starts grinding that shit up, tink, 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 knocks it out on the table, and then proceeds to roll a blunt without saying anything, no context, no, hey, we're about to smoke, or hey, don't be surprised, but I'm about to burn one, or anything. He's like acting like it's completely natural for me to do. And like I smoke with police officers or cops on the regular or something. And he gets the blunt rolled, dries it off a little bit with the lighter, and then he hands it to me. And I was like, okay, this must be a test. So I look at it, I inspect it. I was like, yeah, it's all right. I was like, it's a little loose, but, I don't even smoke anyway, so it don't matter. And he goes, Zach, you're bullshitting me. And I was like, what? He goes, quit bullshitting me. He's like, I know you smoke. He was like, I know all of your friends. He was like, I know way more about you than you think you do. And then that part kind of was like, scared me. Because I was like, fuck. That sounds like something a creepy dude in like a movie would say to a kid that he's about to like fucking just completely dismantle and scatter his body parts around the United States. So I was like, oh. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, dude, all your friends tell me all you guys smoke all the time. And I was like, wait a second. I was like, I'm not friends with any snitches. He was like, hang on. He was like, there's something that you need to learn about me. He was like, I don't give a fuck what you do. He was like, bro, check. I just have a job. He was like, this is just a job. He was like, he was like, I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you don't make my job harder. He was like, then we'll be cool. But then I started thinking, I was like, well, man, if I smoke and then you piss test me, you're going to have to lock me up. That's going to cause paperwork and a court date that you'll have to show up to. I was like, that's a lot of work, or a lot more work for you. But then I also thought, I was like, well, he is my probation officer, so he can just not give me a piss test all he wants. I was like, it's ultimately his decision. So I started to get a little comfortable, and then I'm sitting there holding the blunt, and he goes, are you gonna camp on that, or are you gonna spark it up? So I light up the blunt, I take a few puffs, and I pass it. He takes a few puffs, and he passes it. And then, we're in this little circle of, me, a 14-year-old, with two grown-ass adults. I'm assuming that black guy was, he looked like mid-30s, early 40s, So I'm like, what is going on? Does this happen all the time? Is this something that he does with his kids that he looks over? Like, does he, take turns bringing them out to Bainbridge Island and then smoking weed with them? And then what? You know what I mean? I hadn't got to that point yet. We were just at the smoking stage. So I was like, getting high and getting a little nervous because, sometimes when you're paranoid, smoking marijuana can increase your paranoia. So I'm like, fucking paranoid as fuck. And we're smoking, and then we get to the end of the blunt, and we put it out and everything. And we're sitting there like for like a solid 5, maybe 10 minutes. There's this one part of the show that we're watching that was like really funny, I guess. I wasn't even paying attention, but there was like one part that was really funny, and they were like laughing and making jokes about it, high-fiving and shit. And I'm sitting there like kind of like in my corner of my couch, like, oh my God, what's about to fucking happen? I don't know. I was like, I feel like I should just run. I had like this whole vision in my head. I was like, I can get up. I'll once I stand up, I was like, all I have to do is immediately dart to my right. It's a straight shot through the kitchen, out the sliding glass door. In my vision, I was even like, I'm just gonna rip right through that fucking door. I'm not even gonna open it. Just plow right through it, hop the fence, and then just go hide until nighttime. And then I can make my way around town and figure out how to get the fuck out of here. That was the plan. Because I didn't know what was going on. Like, what would you do in that situation? I'm with strange adults. and not even just adults. These dudes are like twice my age and fucking even more so, twice plus 5 years or twice plus 10 years. Like, so I didn't know what to do exactly. And, I feel like I keep saying that, but like I was really tripping and just taken back by this whole scenario. So yeah, that was my idea. Because I was super high, so I was just thinking, how the fuck am I gonna get out of here? What am I gonna do when I get out of here? Where am I gonna go? I was like, whose phone numbers do I remember by heart so that I could call? Of course, my dad was one of them. I was like, dude, my dad's not even gonna believe this bullshit. I was like, because I used to lie all the time about where I've been, what I've been doing, and if I call my dad randomly, at night, he's like, where the fuck you at? And I'm like, I'm in Bainbridge Island. My probation officer just took me out here without even telling me and got me super fucking high, and I ran off, and now he'd be like, bullshit, because like, would you believe that? I don't know. Nowadays maybe, but like, it just wasn't an option, right? So I start, like, my heart starts racing really fast because I'm about to get up and run. And then all of a sudden, Steve's phone starts ringing, like one of those really cringy old fucking flip phone ringtones. It was like one of those stupid jazz ringtones, like shitty jazz music. And so he gets a phone call, and then he's like, it was just like, okay, that's all right, I'll be right there. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, fuck, they're gonna make this quick, and shit. I was like, now is my time. And then he looks at me, he goes, Zach, we gotta go. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, where are we going? He's like, I'm gonna take you back home, and you're not gonna act too high in front of your dad. And I was like, my dad's not even home. And I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. And then but I was like, yeah, my dad doesn't get home until like 7, 8 o'clock at night, or 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I just repeated that twice. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm not all there this morning. Fucking A. But anyway, we say goodbye to the dude with all the fucking rings and gold chains. We get in his truck and we drive back to Bremerton, and he drops me off, and he goes, hey man, thanks for hanging out. He was like, maybe we'll do it again sometime. And I was like, yeah. I was like, sure. I was like, fuck yeah, if you're gonna smoke a bunch of weed with me and I don't have to pay you anything or anything like that. And he was like, he's like, I let you get a free one this time. And then I just laughed it off, grabbed my bike out of the back of his truck, and he drove off. And thinking about it as an adult, like, what did he mean? You know what I mean? Like, I let you get by for free, or I let you get this one for free, or whatever. What the fuck did that mean? You know what I mean? Like, if there was a next time, would I have to let you put your fucking, your adult penis in my child butthole because you smoked a blunt with me? So you feel entitled to rape a kid or something? Like, yeah, I'm gonna get mine because I smoked, a gram with him. I don't know, man. It could have been a lot worse, I guess. I don't know what the plan was. Like, what would have happened if he didn't get that phone call and he had to leave? What if that never happened? Why was that dude there? Why was that other dude involved? Maybe he was just a friend. Maybe he was an accomplice and, raping children. I don't know. And that's what bothers me, is that I never got an answer. You know what I mean? Like, because I ended up, getting older, getting off probation. But what's weird is that after that day that we smoked and he dropped me off back at home, I never saw him again, ever. I never heard from him about checking in. I never had to do anything. I mean, not like I ever had to much before, but, before that, it was like, I would, do 1 or 2 things a month for him, like fill out a sheet or something like that. Nothing crazy intense. So, but after that day, it was absolute just dry, just nothing, flatlined, Just absolutely nothing. And I even got locked up after that. Obviously, I got locked up after that. And I still didn't hear anything from him or anything because I didn't get off probation until I was 18. So, and I was 14 at the time. And I was put on probation when I was 13. So yeah, I used to get in a lot of trouble, I guess. And if you think about it, like, wow, how fucked up was I? Where they're like, yeah, we need to keep an eye on this kid until he's an adult. So yeah, that's kind of fucked up to think about. But yeah, that's how it was. I got on probation when I was 13, and then I got off probation when I was 18, and I just happened to be in Missouri when I turned 18. I was living in Green Ridge, and man, it's just weird because the last like 2.5, 3 years of being on probation, I just completely forgot that I was, because I had to do absolutely nothing for it. You know, it's really weird. But anyway, let me know what you think. What do you think would have happened if he never got that phone call? Was the next step to get, or like, because this is what I think about. He met up with me at a coffee shop, drove me all the way out there, brought my bike with us. You know what I mean? Leave nothing behind. Brought my bike with us. Went to this strange place I never been, obviously. And we were with another dude, and they got me really fucking high. Like, we were in the living room, we were all chilling on the couches, like everybody was comfortable, shoes kicked off. And I just, like, what were they doing with a kid? You know what I mean? Because I think about myself now, only being 28 years old. Would I pick up a 14-year-old boy, bring him back to my house, and get him really fucking high? Fuck no. Especially nowadays. Like it's different if kids are like smoking with their parents or whatever in the comfort of their own home. Excuse me. And but it's way fucking different for just a random adult, and it's even way weirder for your probation officer to do it, because this is a guy that's supposed to already be close with the kid, you know what I mean? Know him, know his, know the way he is, know the in and outs of the kid that he's overseeing. So it's really weird to think about as an adult, because even if they had good intentions and they were just, about smoking pot and chilling and laughing at Jerry Springer, you were still with a 14-year-old child. Like, that's what I don't understand, is what made that okay. But that's an adult. That's the adult part of me speaking. As a kid, I used to hang out with a lot of adults. Most of the people I hung out with were well over twice my age, or at least twice my age. I don't know. It's just whenever I was growing up, and the kids I used to hang out with they were just so immature. And I guess after being kicked out of my dad's house, it made me grow up really fast, like I said, but it also like gave me a realization of how everybody else acts. Like it was like a way for me to kind of step beside myself and be like, man, look, this is how you were acting as an immature child. This is what you need to do to be, to be mature and be taken seriously and stuff like that. Because I'd look at these kids that I hang out with, and the stuff they would do and the stuff they would say, I'm just like, ugh. Like, God, grow up, you know what I mean? Kind of. And I guess I've always been like that, ever since I got kicked out. Because I've pretty much been on my own since then. There was a few times I stayed with my dad after, like, years after that. Like there was a time when I was 16. I lived with my dad for a little bit. And that's when I met my son's mom and shit like that. But that was a really short period before I dipped down to the big Missouri. But But anyway, yeah, that's the little story I had that popped up in my head. Almost possibly could have been molested by my probation officer. I don't know. You tell me. That's probably what I'm gonna make the title. Something clickbaity, something that'll get people and they'll be like, "Ooh, what? He was almost molested by his probation officer. Oh my god, that is horrible." But yeah, I don't know. It was probably just about smoking, but who the fuck am I to say, right? But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. That's not the only time I actually smoked with like a, I don't know what you would call it, like an adult superior person. Around the same time, because like I said, I would get locked up a lot. Around the same time, or around that same time during Halloween, I was trick-or-treating in the neighborhood and around where I lived. And I went up to this one house, and it just happened to be this pod officer that worked for the juvie, right? The coolest pod officer that you've ever heard of. And I don't want to put his name out there just because he might still be working for the juvie, and he might still be doing all that cool shit that he used to do. But when I was locked up, and he would come in for a shift, and I had just like came in that night or the day before and he wasn't there, he'd see my name on that roster for door unlocks to, your name was next to your door unlock button. And he would intercom over the radio. He'd be like, "Motherfucking Zach O'Toole, what you doing in here, brother? Again, man, you back. You just can't stay away." And he would really keep me company sometimes, because you would be locked down for 23 hours a day in your cell. Like, doing that to a kid, it's gotta do something to their psyche. I mean, it just has to. You can't spend that much time in a cage without it affecting you psychologically. But he would definitely come through and make that a lot easier on me by talking to me through the intercom. And if it was nighttime and he was the only pod, or he was over our pod, because usually they assigned one pod officer to one pod, which was about 20 kids at full capacity. So he would press all of our intercom buttons at once so we could all hear what he was saying at the same time, but then he would just play the radio so we could listen to music. And it was just really cool, because little touches like that, when you're in a cell that much, it makes you feel so disconnected from the rest of the world. Like, it's hard, especially as a kid, to envision the rest of the world going on, people living their day-to-day lives when you're not, and you're just stuck in a cell all day. So that definitely helped a lot. And then some of the other shit he would do is he would come in, wrap gummy bears or gummy worms and chocolate in like a little napkin, and it was like every hour or every 2 hours they had to come by and scan your door with a little scanner for room checks. They just had to make sure that you were in there and you didn't hang yourself, or you weren't doing anything stupid like jacking off, because apparently that's against the rules. Jacking off, you're not allowed to nut, buddy. Sorry. So that was weird. But anyway, he would drop the napkin on the floor and just kick it under the door, and he would hook us up with little snacks and shit. And I remember back in the day, way back in the day, he put like, to the kids he knew he could do this to that wouldn't snitch on him, he would put a little ecstasy in a napkin and then kick that under the door, and we'd get high as fuck. That only happened one time, so I can't say if it happened any other times or how often that would happen, but I was there for one, and I gotta tell you, I was really happy to be locked up at that time. But anyway, where I was going with that is that around that time during Halloween, I ended up knocking on his door. He answered and he goes, "Motherfucker, what the fuck are you doing around here?" Just yapping off, being like, "What the fuck?" And he invited me in, I was like, oh shit, I thought he was just going to give me a handful of candy and then be like, "Man, I hope I never see you back in that motherfucking place." But we sat down. He was watching a football game. We sat down. His wife and kids were there, just running, his kids running around playing Nerf guns or something. His wife is just doing her own thing. And we smoke a blunt in his living room. We just chill, watch the game for a little bit, smoke a blunt. And then I was laying there and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I'm so high." He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You should probably get out there and get some more candy before everybody goes to bed." And it was like 11:30. And I was like, fuck, because I left my house at like 7. And I was like, "God, dude, I've been around one block before I smoked a blunt, got super lazy, and just zoned out on football." So that was a really cool experience too, because I ended up walking around the neighborhood super duper baked, knocking on people's doors trying to trick or treat, but most people didn't answer their doors because it was too late. They had to work the next day, whatever. I get it. But then there was some people that would you could hear them stomp, 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 stomp all the way through their fucking house, flip their porch light on like aggressively, and then open the door and be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Trick or treat." And they're like, "You know what fucking time it is?" I'm like, "It's not midnight yet." You know what I mean? Like, it's still Halloween, bro. Like, I'm just trying to get some candy, man. Give me some candy. But, yeah, that was that. And but that was just one experience I had with him. There was a couple more. Same with a high school, not my high school, but my junior high security guard. Smoked a blunt with him too before class one day. And it's just really crazy, man. You start to think about it, like as a person who has a child, thinking about that kind of stuff, like the people that are supposed to look over and take care of your kids or keep them safe, like a security guard is just posted up with all the kids smoking, getting high as fuck before class. I mean, it's cool because the kids could be doing worse shit, but then it's also, you're like, man, what? Like, maybe that wasn't the best influence on my child at the time, and maybe that explains this, or maybe that explains that. But, I'm not mad. Would I be mad if I found out my son was at school smoking a blunt with a security guard? Probably not, depending on, the person and their background. But if they were just a cool ass person, I probably wouldn't be mad at all. I'd probably be like, maybe you should, maybe focus on other things right now, and, not, smoking with kids, but, But when you're that age and shit like that happens, it's like the coolest thing that can happen. So, I mean, it goes both ways, I guess. So, but anyway, that's what I got this morning, guys. And I don't even want to talk about any political bullshit going on in the world right now. I don't want to talk about any race bullshit going on in the world right now, because everything is just so crazy, and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's right and everybody else is wrong, and it's just fucking madness. It's madness. It's madness, and it's chaos, and I cannot deal with social media anymore. So yeah. Let's all just delete that shit. Let's all just go away. Let's all chip in, buy a big ass piece of land somewhere, start a community, not a cult. But I mean, if you want me to be your leader, I wouldn't necessarily argue that. I'd be like, okay, let's see where this goes. I personally feel like I would be an amazing cult leader just because I care about people. You know what I mean? So if you're interested in starting a cult with me, holler at me and let's figure something out. We could start small and then, make our way to something big, but I guarantee I won't make you guys put on the same Nike shoes, the same sweatsuits, and drink the crazy punch. I won't do that to you. Because life is precious to me. So I won't make you kill yourself. That right there should make you sign up with my cult. Anyway, I got the day off from work. I wasn't supposed to have the day off, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of confusion. I went into work today, tried to clock in, told me I wasn't scheduled, talked to a manager. She's like, yeah, you're not supposed to work today. So I left. Maybe a few people might be a little upset about it, but, you know, I look at it like if it was the other people and they found out they didn't have to work today, they would have been gone in a second. So I woke up at 2:00 this morning, just like every other morning, got ready for work, was super kind of bummed out about it, but happy at the same time. My vacation starts tomorrow. So anyway, work is work. Life is good. I got coffee. And I'm alive, and I get to eat several times every single day and live in a house with electricity. So really, I don't have anything to complain about. I hope you guys feel the same. I hope that life is just treating you really well, and I hope you are happy. That's the most important thing, is happiness. You know, a lot of people will be like, well, do you have this? Do you have that? You know, are you here? Are you there? But are you happy? That's all that really matters at the end of the day, is if you're happy or not, right? And if you're not happy, figure out why you're not happy. Get to the root cause of your unhappiness, you know, and then figure out how to change that shit, right? Because we never know when we're going to die. Right? That's why we need to go take someone off the street, look them in their face, and say, I fucking love you. We're all human. We need to stop this fighting, this fucking division of race, this division of class and wealth is just driving us farther and farther apart. But the fact of the matter is, we're all the same. We're all human beings, and we are all of the human race. So regardless what color your skin is, regardless if you're a woman that thinks you're a man or vice versa, you're still a fucking human, and you deserve love, you deserve compassion, and you deserve happiness. So I hope we could all find that one day. And just right now it's looking pretty bleak, and it's looking like a pretty unachievable goal. So but until next time, guys, let's keep on with the positivity. I love the fuck out of you. And yeah, I'll see you next time.